I mean, the first guy that stands out to me, and I do think that this is probably not a 2025 take, but maybe some dominoes fall and we can get this opening. But no player stands out to me more than Josh Downs, right? Like, I think if there's any
Yeah.
player that has, I don't want to say there ever will be another Antonio Brown, but if any player that is currently playing, I think has that in his range of outcomes, it's Josh Downs. Because you remember, like, early career Antonio Brown was like a punt returner, a slot receiver, but he
Yeah.
was like he was hyper efficient. He wasn't getting the opportunities. And then when he got a chance to be like a full field wide receiver, he just went absolutely nuclear. I do think Josh Downs has that in his range of outcomes. I do think he probably is roadblocked based on the log jam and the quarterback situation
Sure.
this year, because he's probably still stuck playing as a slot dependent player with Alec Pierce still there, and maybe even Adonai Mitchell when Alec Pierce leaves, but again, they could get out of Michael Pittman's contract after year. I think there's a lot of fluidity from a dynasty stance where Josh Downs could still play in 1 to 2 wide receiver sets, but that's been his one bugaboo. And you brought up Jaden Reed too. We know these guys are hyper efficient players and we want to bet on talent. It's the situations that they're in that is roadblocking them. I mean, through 2 years in the NFL, Jaden Reed has run 7 pass routes and 1 to 2 wide receiver sets. 7.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
7. That's 2. And when you say, well, how many 1 to 2 wide receiver sets are the Packers running? It's 2.6% of the plays. Like, absolutely bonkers. And that's been the rub with Josh Downs a little bit to start his career. 16 routes through 2 years and 1 to 2 wide receiver sets. Plus they had Tyler Warren. But when you look at just his efficiency per play is just like, it's just something you want to bet on. I mean, he was targeted on 29.4% of his routes. Only Puka Nacua and Malik Neighbors were higher than him, 2.2 yards per out run. That was top 20. When Josh Downs was on the football field last year, he had 36% of his team's targets. That was 5th in the NFL, like when he was just on the field, because the dude gets open. Like I said, the slot stuff I think is probably still a potential roadblock for 2025, and the quarterback stuff is still an issue. Maybe we get the Daniel Jones Wandale run out, right? Maybe he's Daniel Jones's Wandale and he's a better player.
I hate that like that's what we have to hope for Josh Downs, because just it's so gross. But yes, it is true.
But I still think, I know it's putting lofty, like, I'm saying this is the 1% outcome, the apex outcomes. I do think like this dude could be like on the Antonio Brown spectrum.
It's crazy, like looking back at Antonio Brown from a reception perception standpoint. You talked about, early in his career, he was moving around the formation a little bit. He was like a punt returner, slot receiver. And we talked about up at the top, like, nobody uses their best wide receiver just at X receiver all the time. But like, I've got 3 seasons from AB, 2014, 2016, 2017 charted. All 3 of those seasons, he was an 80% outside. One season, 91.4% snaps outside in 2017. And all 3 of them over 80% on the line of scrimmage. Like, I don't know if that's ever in the cards for Josh Downs, but I mean, nobody would have said that was in the cards for Antonio Brown. So yeah, he does need to, if the Colts are going to remain like, they're going to run a lot more like 2 receiver sets. Like, he does need to push out Alec Pierce, or probably won't do it to Michael Pittman, because like Pittman's is like a consistent player and like a beloved guy of the team. I think that's probably unlikely, but I will say that I think the drafting of Tyler Warren,
Guy
like,
being left for dead.
Pittman, 100%. Like he could fit into this conversation as well. Like, as much as, and like every time I've talked about Josh Downs, I've talked about Josh Downs a lot this offseason, because just have been a big fan of his dating back to UNC. I'm like, let's not forget that Michael Pittman's like good. He's not just some guy that like, we got to just throw this guy away. Like, he's a pretty good, consistent football player as well. There's a chance he could be the guy that, like, if Josh Downs misses time, like, he ends up being a big time value this year if they go back to that kind of Gardner Minshew world. But I think drafting Tyler Warren does signal that they want to just play a lot more 11 personnel and just leave one tight end on the field. But I could be wrong about that, and maybe that's just a misguess. So we'll see.